So welcome back. Today we continue talking about manifesting. So we now go back to the very basics. Your mind create your reality experience. So if you want to have another reality experience, you want to reprogram your mind. So there's nothing really to change in the world around you. The world around you is only a reflection of what you have been practicing in the mind. So nothing new, but it's a good reminder, right? So we go back to 5-3D. This is where all the possibilities exist. Gas form, so to speak, of the ether, non-physic, and here is physic. This is you, standing in the 3D, having the 3D experience around you in the soup of 3D. And you're now, with your mind, you have created something, what you believe it to be of the reality, and you perceive that, right? You're on a certain frequency to be able to perceive a certain reality. So let's say you are watching now the frequency of 100.2 radio classic or something like that, and you see, or a movie, you have financial shortage, or you have no partner, you have no house or something like that, and you think, okay, I want to manifest another thing. So I can imagine it. I start imagining it. My higher self, my non-physical part, my persona beams at me. Please manifest it. So that means already that if it's a true desire and it gives you excitement, you want to tune into that, and it will be like the mind version 2, right? And then a new frequency. If maybe you're going from 100 to 105.4, something like that, right? So you change the frequency. And to change that frequency, that consists out of your frequency is only feelings, emotions, so to speak, thoughts, and beliefs. These are very deep rooted, of course, by society, and it's also called in manifesting paradigm. Oops. Deep seated collective agreed beliefs that we assume to be truth, but have never been really be questioned. But based on these deep rooted beliefs, we create a reality. For example, I have to work to 65 years until I get retired, something like that, or I have to work hard for my money, right? Something like that, or no, thousands of other things. Every country, every in the different worlds, different places on the world that have different paradigms. We're not going into that too much. We are going to talk a little bit about how you get from that frequency, first one 100.2 to 105.4, where you perceive your house, and then from no house, and maybe you want to have a bit of money, and maybe you love life. So how do you do that? So you need to change that frequency. How do you change that frequency? Not with the physical mind. The physical mind doesn't know that. The physical mind that is being programmed is today doesn't think like that person. So in the future desire it first, because if it would already create that, right? So how do you get there? It's not with the physical mind, not with the ego structure, because this is the ego structure, the mind here. So you need to reprogram the mind, reprogram the ego structure to be able to perceive another 3D experience from the non-physical plane. How do you do that? How do you do it? Is integrating your non-physical part of your persona, beams at you with your highest excitement, and image. This has to be put in place, acknowledged, and integrated and applied here in the 3D. If you neglect that part, you just miss the point of manifesting something deliberate and fast. Because if you do not listen to this part, which part will you listen to? You will listen to your ego, right? You're not moving to your future desired version with your ego. If you would do so, it will be a life of struggle, effort, and repetition of different things that repeat themselves over and over again, because the frequency is not fully changed, right? If you read the Bible, you like this, you will replace this excitement in higher self just with something like God, all there is, source. You will understand this whole structure also from that point of view. So let's go into it a bit deeper in the path to get there, because this is the most challenging thing, of course, because of course we can imagine a future desired world. Not everybody, but but yeah. So let's say you're gonna want to go from A to B, from frequency 100 to 110, for example, right? That makes sense, right? Manifestation A to manifestation B. And time is needed. Time is needed because you need the frequency shift from 100 to 110 requires transformation of the ego. And in order to transform the ego structure, you need different reality experiences over a period of time, hours, days, weeks. It gives you information about how you have been programmed for the positive and negative and function to where you want to go, right? So this path to get you to there is custom made from your higher self, that knows exactly the route, how you program yourself from 100 to 110. Why? Your higher self gives you that image to pull into the 3D, right? A house, for example. And your higher self knows exactly what you need to learn, like a God or whatever you want to go, knows exactly what you need to learn in order to reprogram the physical mind to be able to become that match. So let's say if you want to manifest a house, where you feel safe, relaxed, at home, right? And all this stuff must be implemented in your ego structure first before you can actually perceive that to become that vibrational match, right? So let's say if you had a childhood that was not safe, were not relaxed, in that house, right? Then you first must create some sort of a belief shift to be able to feel safe in a house first before you can enter or manifest that house, right? So a lot of people think, yeah, I just need an X amount of money, right, to get me there. But that is not the case. I've seen many people, many clients that have the money to be able to buy a house financially, but not become the vibrational match to the house, to find a house to feel relaxed and eat and good in, right? It makes sense, right? Because money is a co-creative component to get you there to be able to manifest. But the house, the frequency of a house itself is something, right? That makes sense, right? So to get you on that path from here to there, you create a lot of life circumstances to help you to squeeze out the limiting emotions, feelings, and beliefs that are not compatible with your future desired version. Manifesting, we call this contrast. You need contrast, you need something what is not compatible to see. And these negative emotions, thoughts and feelings is the stuff you want to work on. This is 95% of the work of manifesting. Not many people talk about it. But this is actually what needs to be revisioned and transformed and function to get to the future desired version. A lot of people not fully integrate the whole concept of contrast because they do not understand contrast fully. When you're leveling up your frequency, you start to shine brighter, you start to awaken yourself. What happens? Then the lower frequencies, the lower energies will be released, will be shaken out of your body, right? So let's say this is you, and you start to radiate stronger and higher in your frequency. Then the lower frequencies will leave the body too. How? So the lower frequency will come up from your programming to the surface, which you perceive, what the ego perceives as suffering and pain, but it is actually pain release because the suffering was already there on another level. It was just not come to the surface yet. So what you do is you want to bring up these emotions to the surface, and let's say they come to the surface by life circumstances. A life circumstance, here's a bit of a tricky thing, a life circumstance is always neutral, right? So let's say you want to manifest money, you want to become a money magnet, that every frequency that pulls away money coming in has to release the body, right? So let's say for you this will be safety, relaxation, or ease and abundance, or well-being, fill it in. And every emotion that it contradicts this has to come to the surface and be released, right? And that's the hard work. That's the hard work of manifesting your desires, is facing your negative emotions, negative feelings, and go through it and transform them. That's called the contrast need to be transformed. So if a negative emotion comes up during the day and you neglect that, so to speak, and you continue living, then you have not listened to your higher self beaming it. You look at this to be able to transform, to be able to manifest your future desired version, right? So the more willing you wanting to look at these emotions you encountered during the days, or the limiting feelings and limiting beliefs every given single second, and you're willing to transform them, knowing that it's all in function to your future desired version, then you're skyrocketing. So the idea is not to try to change the world around you, but do that inner work. And a lot of people are afraid for contrast because they do not understand why these emotions come up to the surface, and their triggers come up through life circumstances, and do not know how to transform. This is the thing what we do in the coaching and how you can transform that. So let me give you a small example. Let's say you want to have a large chunk of money, and then something happens. You get financial shortage, right? You tune into the idea of a lot of financial abundance, and on that path you create nothing else than financial shortage. So there is no money. And then you think, this stuff doesn't work. At that moment you start thinking this stuff doesn't work. Of course you get that effect, you will never get there. So this is the thing, keep practicing your future desired version, that image, knowing that, not even believing, but just stick it to the floor and know that version is already there, because you know, if you can imagine it, you can put it into the 3D, you stick to that, and there's emotions that comes up by not having money, for example fear, for example stress, these whole beliefs that wants to be released and transformed to be able to level up. So actually it's a, thanks to the financial shortage, you have a chance to listen to look at your programming, to transform them in function to where I want to go. That's a bit paradoxical, but it is how it works. So the more negativity, the more contrast you can handle that comes up to the surface from your unconditional program to your conditional program by life circumstances that you are creating, which actually your higher self is giving them to you to help you to pull it up from your unconditional programming and transform them, equals the speed to your from your old to your future desired version, because you transform faster to another frequency. That means you're moving faster in time, you create less time to get from frequency A to frequency B. So you dial the knob of the radio like faster, right? And yeah, it is a bit of intense work, transformational work, to look every time about your emotions and beliefs and feelings that cause you to feel not so good. But if you find a core belief underneath that, that also will directly create enormous release and satisfaction when you find a core limiting belief, because you now know you have leveled up a degree in your frequency. So this is a very beautiful thing to experience if you know how to shift your beliefs. And I think I will go into that the next movie, how you shift your beliefs, because this is basically pretty much it what you want to do. Alright, I hope this helps, and I wish everybody a beautiful day.